Welcome, 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 Mosaic Souls. Welcome back to Divine Earth School. Hello, 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 Mosaic Souls. Hey, Mosaic Souls. I am Rachael Alexander, artist and Mosaic Soul mentor, aka spiritual life, wellness, and business coach here at Divine Earth School. And today I am super excited to be bringing to you the topic all about 5 aspects of our dark side or our shadow side that can liberate us from being stuck. So liberating yourself out of this sort of perpetual, repetitive loop of misery, of dissatisfaction, all that good stuff. So we're going to dive into this topic. Give me a moment so I can check things on my side to make sure I am coming through live. If you're joining me live, feel free to say hi in the chat. Sorry for the late start. Getting some things together. Making sure that I am being heard and seen. Okay, cool. So it looks like I am live. And you are able to see me. Okay. Let's see. Okay, cool. So, as always for this month of November, since we only have, 2 more days left in November, I'm super excited to talk about that. For the Journey Within series, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do moving forward as far as just coming on here live. I have been enjoying coming on here live. It's definitely been a challenge for me, but it's been a beautiful challenge. And I don't know what this thing is doing. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Hold on, let me fix myself so I'm not all looking crazy. Let me see. I don't know if that makes it any better. Okay, let's close that. Hopefully that makes it a little bit better. Okay. But yeah. So I'm not sure what that is going to hold, but you'll be updated. For those of you who are continuing to enjoy this content, definitely give these videos a thumbs up. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you find this content valuable. I've been sharing all month of November the Journey Within series, where we're diving into the topic of embracing the journey within, discovering our true selves, and embracing who and what that is. It's really the ultimate journey of knowing thyself, right? So I wanted to talk about the 5 aspects of our dark side or our shadow side. I use those interchangeably, but when I'm talking about your shadow side, as I always like to do, is to give a preface for having the same sort of frame of reference so we're on the same page. When I talk about your shadow side, I mean the sort of aspects of ourselves that we sort of want to cover up or don't show the world or pretend that aren't there, or that we kind of shove under a rug. It's sort of like our dark thoughts, our lower or denser vibrational aspects of ourselves, right? Our dark thoughts, our dark impulses, our dark emotions, right? Like that is what I mean when I'm talking about your shadow side, right? Our humanity, right? The aspects of our humanity that aren't so pretty, right? That each of us have. And so that's what I mean by your shadow side or your dark side. The dark side I also use interchangeably with another meaning. I'm not going to dive into that into this video, so I'll start using the word shadow more instead of saying dark side, because I do use dark side for another definition, for another frame of reference. So I'll just say your shadow side, the aspect of yourself that most of us don't want to look at, or most of us avoid, and stuff like that, right? So that's what I mean about your shadow side, right? 5 aspects of your shadow that can liberate you from being stuck, right? So let's talk about the first aspect. So aspect number 1, and let me first do a little house cleaning first. Let me do that first, actually, before I dive into this stuff, is I'm still having the end of year sale, Black Friday end of year sale at Divine Earth School. So if that's something that you are looking to get support on, I'm having a sale on my spiritual consultations, aka my alignment sessions. I'm also having a sale on a number of different courses and products and services. So if that is something that you want to take advantage of, I'm ending that sale on November 30th. So this Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I dropped that link in the description box below. And if you're looking for more help to creating a life that is in alignment with who you desire to be while on this planet, then book a discovery call, a complimentary discovery call with me at www.divineearthschool.com/call. And on that call, we'll work together to uncover any blocks and any limiting beliefs that sort of are blocking you, and then sort of come up with a overarching step-by-step plan to help you get out of that and move more into the direction of your soul and heart's desire. And part of that plan might be that you want to work with me and or my business. And if that's so, then that's awesome. And if not, that's also awesome. But it's going to be a great 45 minutes to an hour long session where we really get you clear. So you walk away from that session having a lot of clarity on creating the life that you want, right? So now that the housekeeping is taken care of, let's dive into these 5 aspects, right? So 5 aspects of your shadow. So the first aspect, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because this is part of the, a lot of times in the spiritual community and stuff like that, light workers are oftentimes seen as, oh, we must have high vibes all the time, and we must, being high is what it's all about. And even though I am on that band camp and feeling good is, a part of why we came here, to discard our shadow is really does a disservice to our human journey and does a disservice to our manifestation powers and capabilities, right? So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because a lot of times this is sort of taboo, or it's sort of shoved under a rug, or it's sort of looked at as, oh, your trauma and your trauma and your trauma. And even though I do believe that we do have childhood traumas or adult traumas and stuff like that, I wanted to look at it from a different lens other than looking at it as trauma. Like each of us have a dark side. Each of us have a shadow side, even if we haven't been traumatized, right? And so I wanted to talk about these aspects of ourselves such that we can start to reintegrate these aspects of ourselves into our daily human lives and start to be more of the holistic beings that we are, rather than living these fragmented lives that we often live and lead because we're ignoring these aspects of ourselves, right? So that's really why I want to talk about it. So aspect number 1 is that your dark thoughts, emotions, and feelings / impulses are here to show you another aspect of yourself. They are not dirty and can be used or transmuted as a catalyst to move you to closer to your desires, right? So oftentimes we think that our shadow side is this dirty aspect of ourselves that we have to hide. Women are taught you must be seen, not heard, that's that old kind of thing, or be polite and gracious and stuff. And though graciousness and courtesy and kindness and humbleness are definitely great qualities that every human being should have, a lot of times we'll utilize those thought processes and frames to discard our darker or our denser emotional frequencies, our denser thought forms and stuff like that. And we discard those as though they have no relevance to our human journey, when actually all information that we're experiencing is relevant for the journey. I think of it as ma'at, right? Like of balance, of justice, of balancing the scales, right? Chalk it up to my Libra moon, but I always believe in sort of having a balance. You can't have, we do live in this yin yang kind of dualistic world, right? And even though I will talk about how we can transcend polarities, right? And transcend sort of like that law of Tahuti, where we're transcending polarities, embracing them is a part of being able to transcend it, right? So recognizing that your dark thoughts, emotions, and feelings are here to show you another aspect of yourself, right? So if you're experiencing anger, right? Let's say someone crosses a boundary, right? And you're taught that, you shouldn't get angry, or you shouldn't, curse somebody out or something like that, right? I believe there's a time and a place for everything, right? And so sometimes getting angry and utilizing that anger to, and channeling that anger into healthy communication or a lesson being taught so that someone learns a lesson so that there is balance, right? So there is ma'at, allows us to bring in more harmony and joy in our lives. When we discard our anger and say that, you're taught that you're not supposed to get angry at your elders or angry at blah, 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 fill in the blank. I'm just using anger as one of the denser emotions. Then we oftentimes will stifle these aspects of ourselves and then manifest diseases and manifest all kinds of other chaos in our lives. Chaos not in the good sense, but chaos in the sense of things just going crazy because we're not in alignment with embracing these aspects of ourselves, right? And one of the ways that you can start to look at this is like when you experience dark emotions, dense emotions, thought forms, and things of that nature, start to look at it as feedback, right? All of your emotions is your emotional guidance system. All of your thought forms, not that they all have relevance and not that they all should have the level of importance as your soul and your intuition's guidance, right? But they are all feedback. That's all information. It's sort of a guidance system letting you know where you're at vibrationally, where your subconscious mind is on, vibrating, and like emotionally where you're vibrating, right? So these forms, right, thought forms, emotional feelings and impulses, they're here to show you different aspects of your journey and to bring about balance, right? And to also let you know what needs to be shifted and changed, right? So that's aspect number one, is that your dark thoughts or your shadow thoughts, emotions, and feelings / impulses are here to show you another aspect of yourself. And they are not dirty and can be used and transmuted as catalysts to move you closer to your desires, right? Aspect number two is embracing your shadow or dark side actually frees you up from acting out on the dark impulses, right? So shoving it away only perpetuates it more in your daily life. So by embracing your dark side or embracing your shadow, it allows you to really become the alchemist of your own life, right? The magician, right? If you think of a magician or an alchemist, think of an alchemist as, just sort of this chemist or this person in the laboratory with all these different aspects of yourself, right? And the aspects of yourself are your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your sensations, your impulses, right? And you're the magician and you get to create whatever formula you want out of that. But if you shove away like a key component of the formula, then you're left not being able to become the whole entity that you already are, right? And so embracing that also allows you to transcend polarity and integrate it into the wholeness that you already are, right? So like I was kind of hinting at earlier, is that when you embrace your shadow, you can start to transcend the law of Tahuti, which is the law of polarity, right? And not in the sense that you're going to, exit the body or exit the yin and yang cycle and, all of that, but in the sense of on an emotional and mental level, right? Like you're no longer going to be at effect to things that happen externally, right? And life that happens outside of you no longer can affect your equilibrium. You'll start to develop a state of equilibrium, a state of serenity, a state of peace, and nothing can really disturb you because you're the alchemist, you're the magician, you're the person who's waving the magic wand and moving things around. And when things don't necessarily go according to plan, you can look at it with a level of heightened awareness and heightened thought forms, in the sense that you get to create you get to give meaning to whatever life event is happening. So even when things don't quote unquote go your way, you can say, well, everything is always going my way because I'm the creator of my reality. So I'm just going to give this life event situation a meaning that serves me so that I can continue moving towards my desires, right? And so that's the power of embracing your shadow, is because when you ignore your shadow, which is these dark thoughts, feelings, emotions, these dense thoughts, feelings, emotions, and impulses, you are actually ignoring that aspect of you, like your inner child, right? You're ignoring the information that brings, right? Because sometimes violations happen, right? Let's say you've been violated in some way, form, or fashion. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've been raped or stolen or been theft from, but even just emotional violations. People, feeling the need to say certain things to you or disrespect you in certain ways, sometimes you need to bring in the laws of Ma'at, right? And bring balance and justice and stand up for yourself. And those emotions of, anger or dissatisfaction or whatever, they come into play into standing up for yourself and asserting your divinity in while in human form sometimes, right? So not all dense emotions and dense thought forms and dense frequencies are irrelevant or are aspects of ourselves that we should throw away. Actually, none of it is, because the more you embrace, right, the aspect of you that, those dark aspects of you that was envious, or that those dark aspects of you, those dense aspects of you that was jealous or felt guilt or felt shame and stuff like that, the more you embrace those aspects of you, the more powerful you are, because you start to recognize that in the embracing, right, of all aspects of your divinity, you recognize that, that if you think of, to me, I like to think of God as both the God and the devil, right? Satan and the devil, right? If we're taking it out of the context of, Christianity, or out of the context of just the Bible, thinking of these aspects of yourself is that you start to embrace aspects of yourself. Not that you're condoning bad behavior or actions in your own life or from others, but what you're doing is you're embracing these aspects of yourself and saying, oh, I see this aspect of myself, and so I can give myself my own grace, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. Let me just move on to the next point. But you'll start to be, basically the second aspect is becoming the magician, becoming the alchemist of your life, right? By embracing these different aspects of yourself, the shadow aspects of yourself, you become the alchemist. Okay. Third point, being whole is about embracing your light and your dark, right? This is what I wanted to move into. There's no time. Sorry. Take a sip of water. Let me turn off this heater. Every time I put the heater on, I always start getting sniffly. Okay, so every time, okay, back to the third point. The third point is being whole is about embracing your light and your dark. There is a time and a place for everything, as I mentioned before. So, for example, if you see me looking, that definitely activated my sinuses. Okay, all that heat. Okay, so for example, sometimes anger can lead to justice, lessons being learned, and growth and expansion for all parties involved. But if you shove away your anger, the lesson and the golden growth is missed, right? So that's an example, right? So being whole is about embracing all aspects of you, embracing the dark aspects of you, embracing the aspects of you that sometimes get angry, that sometimes wants another person to die because they've done something wrong, right? Like, we all have that dark aspect of ourselves. And the more that we embrace these aspects of ourselves, we can start to really step more fully into our divinity, because we're no longer afraid of these aspects of ourselves, right? And I want to share something that I used to, I've always been a vivid dreamer, right? And one of the things that I learned along my journey is that a lot of my dreams and stuff were things from my subconscious mind showing me different aspects of my psyche and different aspects of the things that I need to heal within myself. But I would also in my waking life get visions of just scary things. For a long time, for 7 years or 8 years of my life, I would get these visions of just random if you think of I can't remember, Stephen King, all the gory creatures and stuff that he created in his books, and the movies that were made and stuff off his books. I would get these visions of crazy stuff, dead worms and roaches and all kinds of craziness, and other worlds of just dark entities and dark energies and stuff like that. And I never really understood why I was doing that, right? And so as I started to learn and explore more in different spirituality, why I would get these random visions, it's because I was tapping into sort of my light. And so, one of the things I was learning is that when you tap more into deeper aspects of your subconscious and deeper aspects of the light being that you are, part of your true self is guarded by these sort of your inner demons, right? And so I would get these visions and stuff like that because I was ready to tap into even deeper knowledge and wisdom within myself, right? But if I was scared of that aspect of myself, if I was scared of these visions and stuff like that, because at first I was, but when I started to study and understand why I kept getting these random visions and dreams and stuff like that, that was always dark and stuff like that, I started to see, oh, okay, I'm tapping into something even deeper. Let me dive more into it instead of running away from it. And by diving more deeper I was like able to uncover my light and able to see the different lessons and the different wisdom and inspiration and action steps and things that I could take by implementing and integrating these aspects of myself within my human form, right? But if I shunned them away, if I discarded those dark energies, if I discarded those aspects of me that we have a tendency to like discard, I wouldn't have been able to get the golden nuggets from it, right? From the insights that I grokked from starting to do the inner work, right? So being whole is about embracing all aspects of yourself, right? A lot of times, especially in the spiritual community, it's like, oh, high vibes, high vibes. It's almost like a toxic positivity. And I believe in balance, right? Most of the time, I do believe that you can exist on the planet while in human form, like 90% of the time in good vibes, right? In high vibes in the sense of like, you can be in a state of peace majority of your life, right? Yeah. And then maybe the little 10% of little disruptions here and there. Like you can definitely set that up however you want, right? But in general, discarding that 10%, 5% or whatever percent of your life that does happen to bring contrast and stuff like that is really does yourself a disservice, because we're here for growth and expansion, right? So we're here to discover more and more of ourselves. And since we're infinite, being, the growth never ends until we're dead on the planet, right? Like until we're no longer in these flesh suits, and even then, right? So we go on to expand. So that's really what it's all about, is stepping more wholly into who we truly are and embracing these aspects, embracing those aspects of you that wants to cuss your mother-in-law out, or wants to yell at your kids. Not saying that you should yell at your mother or cuss your kids out and stuff like that, not saying that, but embracing that aspect of you that gets annoyed when people say or do certain things and stuff like that. The more you embrace that, the more you can say, I wonder what this is telling me, right? Like, what is this emotion or thought form telling me? What is this impulse telling me about my life? Do I need to make some shifts and changes? But if you don't embrace those aspects of yourself, you're going to get annoyed, and you're going to let the shadow take over you. You're going to let the shadow lead your life. Your ego is another way of saying it, right? You're going to let that aspect of you be at the forefront of your life versus letting your soul be at the forefront of your life. And so you want these sort of denser, darker emotions and thought forms to be in service of your divinity rather than them running the show, right? You don't want your ego to be running the show of your life. You want your soul, your divine true self, to be running the show, and letting these aspects of yourself give you information as to what needs to be healed, what needs to be shifted, what needs to be altered, so that you can stay into the wholeness of who you truly are. So never, one of the things about this is not looking at your shadow side as this part of you that you have to shun, but looking at it as a part of you that always is giving you information, giving you feedback, right? And when you look at it in that way, you start to embrace these aspects of you, because you don't look down on yourself. You don't feel guilty or shame for feeling denser emotions, because you're like, oh, that's part of the human play, this human playground that we came to play on, right? You can look at this whatever way you look at the earth. Some people look at it as a prison. Some people look at it as a play. I look at it as a playground. Some people look at it as school. I look at it as all of the above, whatever floats your boat. But for me, looking at that aspect of you as, oh, this is another aspect of me while I'm in human form that I'm here to play with, right? And so it's not abdicating responsibility for your emotions, and it's not saying, oh, because I'm a spiritual being, it's, like I said, it's all about balance, right? It's not saying, oh, well, I'm a divine being, and so I can abdicate because, this fleshly suit is temporary, because we can go to the extreme too, right? Because this fleshly suit is temporary and stuff, all my dense emotions and thoughts and forms and impulses, I can just ignore them, or I can just say, it doesn't matter. And you can look at it in that way, but the whole goal is not to embrace them in such that you can abdicate responsibility for them. No, it's taking full 100% responsibility for all aspects of you, such that you can utilize that energy and transmute it and utilize it into and utilize it as the creative power that it is. Because even denser frequencies is creative energy, right? It's just creative in a different way. It's a different form of creation. One of the things that I was thinking about, that as I was kind of typing this up, was I watched the Netflix series called Wednesday, and it was about the girl on, I think, the Addams Family, the younger girl or whatever, and she's totally like a sociopath or whatever. And but she was like sort of like the dark witch, and her mother was sort of like the light witch, right? But like in this school or whatever that she's going to, which is like a bunch of oddities where you have werewolves and all these different other types of energies and stuff like that, they represented all these different aspects of like dark energy, right? And so I loved it because it represented like how they both can coexist and both is necessary, right? But a lot of times we have this tendency to, not to say that you should go around killing people or go around doing these things. That's not what the message is. But the message is embracing these aspects of ourselves allows us to stay as the light workers and light beings that we truly are, right? So that is the message there. The fourth aspect of your dark, your shadow side is, I should have brought some tissues. Sorry. Okay. The fourth aspect is your shadow side can empower you to think, act, and feel holistically and remain in less dense frequencies more often, because you acknowledge the dualistic nature within all things, including yourself, and from an empowered place choose to reside in higher frequencies, right? So I was kind of touching on that already. So by embracing your shadow, it empowers you to think, act, and feel holistically and remain in the lighter, less dense frequency aspect of yourself, because you're acknowledging your dualistic nature. You're acknowledging other people's dualistic nature, and what it breeds is compassion. What it breeds is patience. What it breeds is kindness. What it breeds is love for the self and for others. Because if you can't embrace your own shadow, you can't embrace and have space for other people to have their shadow, right? And then it goes into the last aspect of your shadow, which is embracing your shadow allows you and others to take off the mask of pretend and truly be yourself, right? Instead of this pretend like, oh, I'm happy all the time. That's not real life. Like, sometimes people piss you off. Sometimes you want to cuss somebody out. Not saying that you should, but sometimes you feel these denser frequencies. Not saying the goal isn't necessarily to be perfect all the time. The goal is to know thyself. And by knowing yourself, you can choose to start residing in lighter frequencies, because you already know that these aspects of yourself is a part of the game, right? So, no longer hiding aspects of you that gets angry, feels enraged or violated, feels heartbroken, feels misunderstood or unheard, right? Embracing your shadow liberates you and others from this misperception that you must be perfect in order to be successful, or in order to be spiritual, or in order to fill in the blank, whatever you're trying to be in your life, right? It allows you to voice your needs without guilt, fear, or shame, as well as give yourself and others grace in order to fulfill those needs and desires, right? It allows you to see others as divine beings playing this little skate and not being bogged down by the heaviness of their humanity. So especially with people who are, let's say, unconscious, people who just are not aware and have no desire to wake up in this lifetime. Maybe their souls didn't come for that journey, right? It allows you to give those type of people grace and see them as, divine, even though they're asleep, and just leave them as they are. You don't need them to be any type of way in order for you to be okay in life, right? So it really just liberates you in so many different ways. Another aspect of this is that it allows you to see, okay, I said that already. It allows you to become a place of sanctuary for those who need, it allows you to become a place of sanctuary for those who need to be seen, heard, and healed, including yourself. It allows you to stand up for your needs without apology. And this leads to you having greater sense of peace of mind, of being okay in solitude, of being okay to do the self-reflection and daily self-reflection, and brings about genuine connection and brings about compassion, joy, etc., right? So by embracing your shadow, you embrace all these aspects of you. And I can attest to this in several relationships that I've had. Just embracing my own shadow allows you to be sanctuary for other people to embrace their shadow, right? But if you're shunning that aspect of you that made a mistake, let's say you're sleeping on your mama's couch, at age 30, or, you accidentally did something that was horrific, but you didn't mean to do it. By embracing the fact that we quote unquote make mistakes and quote unquote do things that we aren't proud of, not saying that we should condone those aspects of ourselves, but by embracing the fact that we do those things, or embracing the fact that we do have these aspects of ourselves that are shadow or denser, we're liberating ourselves from the guilt, shame, and all that stuff that comes with it. But then we start to be smarter moving forward, because we don't have to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. We don't have to keep reiterating or reliving out the guilt, shame, and other denser, darker emotions or thought forms, because we know better, right? So that's what, embracing your shadow, these different 5 aspects of yourself really brings to your life, So one of the things that I want to share with you that you can start looking at for yourself is, what aspects of yourself are you not willing to look at, right? This is questions to ask yourself, right? What parts of yourself or life are you avoiding, thinking, feeling, or dealing with, or changing, right? What aspects of you are you not wanting to change, or aspects of yourself that you're not really wanting to deal with, right? What aspects of your life have you struggled with for years that you'd like to address, right? These questions will help you uncover your shadow side, right? Uncover the denser, darker aspect of you. And by uncovering these denser, darker aspects of you, you begin to reintegrate them into the wholeness of you, who you truly are, and transcend them, so that you're no longer moving from that place. You're no longer moving from your egoic state of being, right? You're no longer moving from less consciousness, unconscious behaviors, right? You're starting to bring awareness to these aspects of yourself such that you can reintegrate them into the wholeness of who you are and be the alchemist, right? So those are the 5 aspects that I wanted to share with you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below or in the chat below. I think that's all I wanted to share. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions or insights in the chat below. Okay, good. Okay. Whew, sorry. So, if there are no questions, I'll definitely hop off. Let me see. Cool. So, as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't. Because you are divine. You are a divine being, and your soul knows exactly what you've come to explore and experience while on this planet. For those of you who will watch the replay, feel free to let me know in the chat below which aspect actually resonated with you most deeply, or which aspects of your shadow side that do you find that you've integrated more recently. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. And as always, definitely check out the links in the description box below for those of you who are ready to receive more support and guidance in creating the life you want. Visit us at divinerschool.com/call to book your complimentary discovery call. And that link is in the description box below. And for those of you who are watching this before November 30th, definitely check out our Black Friday sale that ends this November 30th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, as always, what you conceive is what you'll receive. What you expect is what you'll get. And however you feel is what will become real for you. So, vibrate higher, and I will chat with you guys tomorrow. Peace, love, and light.